Meet the vendors.
The company is Aletheia Creation. It all started a few years ago. Here in West Seattle, actually, that's the first fair that I ever done in the Pacific Northwest. I started to make earrings and jewelry working towards it since I'm 8 years old. I had an obsession to wear leaves, jewelry. Just didn't know how to make it happen. As you know, dry flowers and dry leaves just break so easily when it just simply dried. So over the years with life, I've met several people working with resin for other components, just when they're boat or other kind of jewelry, butterfly. I've seen all kind of bugs casted into resin, and came to try on my own with petals and leaves. Several years ago, I was here in West Seattle, and I had an unfortunate incident when my legs stopped working and had to go emergency room in the hospital and get surgery. I ended up several months without work, and my neighbor actually invited me here at this fair where they had at the time an emerging artist program. I had never done these shows before, so I came in, spent a very small amount of money and tried for the very first time with my crutches and trying to figure out, how to make some money to survive during those 3-4 months without a job. So I ended up doing this show for 3 days. It was actually rainy that whole weekend. And amazingly, all the ugly part and trial and failure that I had done over all these years turned out sold on my table, which was very amazing and encouraging to me. So from that point on, I just decided to spend more time, focusing on my artwork and figuring out how to better the product. And I've been doing the show ever since, and now I'm sitting pretty much all across the country, so from the West Coast to the East Coast, and it's great. I used to grow them myself. I have a very small little garden near my house. Now that the business is getting busier and I'm doing much more events, I work for several local flower farms. I get a lot of support from local gardeners that come home with all these flowers that they will just throw away. I made my own flower press, so the pressing is very important in order to keep the color nicely. My goal was to have a flower that doesn't look dry out. So they need to be dry, because within the resin, if they are not, they will just keep rotting. Nobody really enjoy wearing rotten flowers. And all my flower press are chemical free, so they don't struggle with chemical from paper or different kind of fabric that some people use to dry their plants. And once they're dry, with a small brush, I gently layer resin one side at a time. So it takes about a whole day to cure. Once it's cured, I flip the leaves or the flowers on the other side, and I do the same process again. I do finish them to small varnish. The resin that I use doesn't require to have a varnish because it's already very shiny and beautiful. But I like to finish them with a varnish that has some UV protection, since most of the show I'm doing are outdoors, and I love the beautiful weather, but the plants tend to change color when they're in contact with the sunlight. So it's very important to have a good UV protection on them as well. So that keeps their color nicer, so they don't struggle as much with the sun. So I do varnish them for that reason. I had that sweet lady yesterday. She just purchased a property here in West Seattle, and she had that house was built apparently 100 years ago, and she was very excited. Those flowers, those roses of hers were there from the first time, the moment the house was built. And she just wanted to show them to me, and she was, so she went back to her house, came back running here with all these beautiful roses yesterday. So yeah, we did some little trades. So I got some free flowers, that beautiful actually roses, to make more of my jewelry, and she got some free jewelry for herself. So it's good, It's a nice memory for her. It has a sentimental value to her, and to me, well, it just helped me to grow my business. My business name is Aletheia Creation. It's quite interesting because people call me Aletheia, but my name is actually Maryse. Aletheia means truth. It comes from Greek language. And I always thought that if I ever had a daughter, I would call her Aletheia. And when this business started to bloom, basically, I didn't know really much how to call it. So I figured that Aletheia would be a good fit, since Aletheia means truth, and there's nothing more truthful than flowers and leaf and nature. It's great. It makes people happy, and I'm very grateful that I can actually make a living doing my artwork. It's something that I'm passionate about since a young age. It now became part of my living.